Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name might be Isaiah and today my brain is bad, everything is bad. So we're going to go back to my favorite subreddit, Am I the Asshole? And I want to read you the most insane post that I've ever seen. And then we can talk about why it's so insane. And it's also a great reminder that despite all of my late pro-masculinity posts and pro-guy posts, there are some massive idiots out there. So it is, am I the asshole for suggesting that my wife switch to formula so I could have more time with our son? And I have to mention, formula is capitalized, so I don't know what brand he's talking about, but sure. Hey y'all, read carefully before giving judgment. Exclamation point period. So my wife, F24, and I, M27, had our son 3 months ago. Luckily, as new parents, we've had less issues compared to others in our family. But what really created an issue is the fact that my wife gets way more bonding time with my son than I do. She breastfeeds and doesn't let me come anywhere near her while she's doing it, claiming she was already in pain and I was making her stressed out with my behavior. She promised to let me have my bonding time once she's done, but she takes a long time feeding and then the baby goes to sleep, so I get pretty much, almost no time to bond with him. It all came to a head for me last night after my wife told me to leave the room while she was feeding our son because I was bothering, her and making her feel stressed, with my judgmental, comments, but I was just making sure she was feeding our son properly since she's dealing with stress and possible PPD, and so I had to, not under doctor's recommendation but my mother's advice, be present in every feeding session to make sure nothing goes wrong, and like I said before, maybe get a chance to bond with my son, but it didn't end well and I refused to leave the room. She tried to unload on me about how unsupportive and difficult I was being, but I told her she was wrong to exclude me and to take away my attempt at bonding with my son, and that it's only fair that I get to have equal time she has with him, and suggested that she switch to formula so she has no way of keeping me excluded, and again, so I could get 50% of the time she has with him. She called me unreasonable and explained that even though I'm the parent too, she as a mother is essentially what her son needs and relies on, so her role is more important and she gets more time than I do, simply because she's the mother. Then she explained that my request was ridiculous because she is blessed to have almost no issues with breastfeeding and switching to formula was absolutely uncalled for and cannot be afforded right now. But I disagreed and argued that she left me no choice and that she needs to respect whatever decision I make regarding our son, even if she doesn't like it and doesn't necessarily agree with it. But she argued back, saying I'm delusional to think she'll just switch to formula to fix my hurt fifis, and even accused me of making this request so mom could meddle in and start feeding our son formula, and I have sleepovers since she was against her breastfeeding from the start due to how weak she was before. This really had me kind of lose my cool, not gonna lie. I told her that couldn't be further from the truth. Matter of fact, I strongly believe her refusal to consider switching to formula is mainly despite mom, not because she thinks my request was unreasonable. Long story short, we kept going back and forth on this argument and she told me to drop it, but I refused because, in my opinion, she's being selfish by how she's treating me as the other parent. So it's not even a question of if he's the asshole, because I actually saw this on another subreddit called Am I the Devil that takes mostly from Am I the Asshole, but also relationship advice in other places. There are some crazy step-parent stories out there, let me tell you. But it shouldn't be any surprise that he's the asshole, though I don't think the conversation has gone completely well on either side. So he's a mama's boy. But I think the really big thing that gets lost in the meat of this conversation is that this infant is 3 months old, and there's not a whole lot that they're going to do at 3 months. It's mostly eat, shit, and sleep. Not necessarily in that order. So there's not a whole lot that he can do to bond with baby unless he wanted to do like some tummy time with baby or have the baby sleep on his chest while the baby is sleeping, because that's about as much bonding as you're getting through the breastfeeding. But some notable points is him going through his mom's advice, and apparently the mother or mother-in-law for the wife's case, this woman has already insinuated that the the mother of this infant is too weak to breastfeed, despite her not having any issues, apparently. And my friend has talked about breastfeeding a lot and wanted to make sure that he was producing enough milk to last a longer amount of time. And so the fact that this mom is not having any issues at all breastfeeding is actually pretty good. But going through your mother, who has already been confrontational about her grandchild, is already a big thing, and probably shouldn't bring the mother into any conversations about baby care, since it's already a very sensitive subject. Breastfeeding a child is also typically more difficult because unless you bottle up some of the excess breast milk for like overnight things, you end up having to be the parent that wakes up and feeds the child whenever they wake up. And you don't really have a choice because you are their food, which sucks. So I can imagine the mom, if she isn't bottling some of it aside, and I assume from this argument that they're having that she doesn't. She's the one that's having to get up every few hours to feed the baby because babies grow a lot. Because human beings are very undeveloped when we leave the womb, even at full term. Oh, but I don't like some of what the wife had said either about like the mother being the most important one at the moment, because I feel like it really dismisses same-sex couples or the fact that the father does want to be involved. Like that, he's not going about it the right way at all. Not at all. Making demands, leaning on his mother's advice when she's clearly been interfering beforehand, but getting argumentative, admitting to losing his cool, that sort of thing. But it is nice to see a father want to be involved in even an infant's life, because it's so easy to fall into the stereotype of the dad babysitting, not really being involved, that sort of thing. So I do think that is good. And I think, as someone who cannot comment on this at all because it is completely locked down to keep from bullying behavior, which I approve of from Am I the Asshole, it can get over the top very easily, because Am I the Asshole is also a great place for a lot of people to do fiction writing, so they will do over the top assholery or over the top innocence, that sort of thing. And honestly, what I was going to say was, I think what would be best would be to probably have the mother see if she can't bottle some of the excess for at least like overnight feedings, and have the father take some of the nights. And then he gets his precious bonding time, and he can also see that mom's not taking that long to feed. That's just how long it takes for their baby to eat at that time. Because I'm sure mom doesn't want baby sucking on her boob any longer than necessary, even if she's not having issues, because boobs are very tender, especially around the nipple area. And once baby starts getting teeth, oof. But yeah, like I said, today's not been a fantastic day. Admittedly, I am a little bit dehydrated, but also just generally having issues with mortgage shit and feeling like we're never going to get out of here. Very frustrated with the substitute teaching gig because the person who's supposed to help me onboard did not reply until I sent 3 emails for the onboarding information, sent me an email with a PDF on things I was supposed to do, has not replied to 3 more emails I sent asking what the fuck e-registration is. And I don't know. Every day I feel more and more like they're going to try and I'm being pushed back into grooming And I really don't want to do that. I'm terrified if I go back into grooming that I'm going to end up losing my hands because the repetitive motion makes my wrists lock up, like the start of tendinitis. And I'm also worried because despite grooming being something I enjoy, it's also exhausting. So then I would not be able to have the energy to do the work that I want to do. Whereas I'm hoping by substitute teaching or one of these other jobs I'm applying to, I will have the energy to because it won't be as physically demanding. But I don't know. I'm in a bit of a rut right now. I'm hoping to get things sorted out soon. But man, I really didn't want to pay another month's rent to this apartment. They don't deserve this money at all. But that's going to be it for me. I hope you all have a better day than I've had today. And I will talk to y'all tomorrow. Stay hydrated. Bye.